Hi, neuro-curious friends, Dr. Claudia here. So you'll notice I'm casual today. Today is a day I like to do something different, so I don't have a prepared talk or anything. I have some notes you'll see me refer to. But I'd like to talk more about the Neuro Journey. You see me post about it a lot, and I've blogged about it a little bit, but I think I haven't really filled in a lot of the gaps for you yet. So, the Neuro Journey. This is just an idea. It's a concept I came up with. And the purpose is to raise your awareness that we're all on a neuro journey. So it's just our neurological health throughout our lifespan. We're born, we die. In between, there's a whole life. And in that life, we have a lot of choices that we make. And a lot of those choices impact our health. Specifically, I'm a neurologist and I see a lot of neurological conditions, so that's what I am most passionate in, what I care about. And so, I get a lot of patients who are like, oh, I wish I had known how to prevent this, how to prevent X, Y, or Z. So over time, just got to thinking and, just trying to answer that question for people. We all have things we can't change. I cannot change my genetics, right? I have a family history. Certain conditions might run in your family. You can't change that. You got what you got, right? But there's other things you can change. And so when I think about the neuro journey, I think about really what are things that I can impact for myself to make my journey the best, right? So, first, who is on a neuro journey? You are, I am, we all are. Whether we are actively involved in thinking about it all the time or not, we're on it, right? It's a thing called life. We get a brain, we get nerves, a spinal cord, and so, it undergoes changes during life just like any other, organ. And so what are the components of good neurological health? I came up with a few which are important to me, that I think really kind of when you distill down what are the basics, I think of sleep, nutrition, exercise. I also think of purpose, so I'll talk more about that in a bit and elaborate more on that. And then the management of any conditions that we might have. Okay, so I'm going to just choose one to start with, exercise. So exercise is very, very important to me. I try to get some in every day, not just because I like it or I enjoy it, but I can tell you from experience, from being very well versed in the literature, exercise is an absolute fundamental component of your neuro journey if you want to have a good one. Exercise impacts pretty much every aspect of your life, not just neurological, bone health, joint health, mental health, and very organically your brain health. Right, so very important. So I'll start, kind of giving this as an example. And everything I talk about usually comes from my own experience, or actually I should say always comes from my own experience, either in my life or in a patient's life. But being that exercise is so important to me, I will talk to you about, my experience. So, I danced a lot growing up. I was a professional dancer for a few years prior to going to medical school. And even in college, even before being a dancer in college, I ran track. So not saying I was great at it, but I was still, out there on the track. And I thought I would always be in this great shape. I couldn't think of a time in my life when I wouldn't, actively be working out every day or dancing every day. So then you go to medical school and life completely changed, right? It's a lifestyle change. So for me, it was med school, But for anybody else, it could be parenthood, it could be, starting whatever new career you're on, life events, life tracks, they change kind of everything, right? Or they can. And so I stopped exercising as much. I would get in some workouts, but it just wasn't quite the same, and that's okay. But, stress and, being very sedentary. I would study a minimum of 8 hours a day after class, So I put on some weight. Okay, whatever. But, I just didn't feel that great. I just didn't. So amped up some workouts. Great. So the next phase of life, residency, kind of more of the same. Managed to keep up a workout schedule. And, everything was pretty much going well. And then I had my daughter, my oldest baby. And I started a new job. So I was commuting a lot. I had a brand new baby. So for about 2.5 years, I really didn't work out at all. I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy. And so I didn't. And that's okay. We do the best we can in the time that we have and in our particular situation. So after a while, I noticed that I just really was not my best self. Just exhausted all the time, which is to be expected, and that's okay. But I just felt like there was something I needed to do. And I went back to, the basics for me. And so, of course, the component that we're talking about today is the exercise. So I made some notes because I had to think back about how I really got back into exercising. And, of course, at that point, I'm in my late 30s, and, it's not quite the same as when you're in your teens or your 20s. So I get out there one day and I'm like, I'm going to run my usual 5 miles or, whatever. And did not happen, right? So reality check. Got really discouraged, but, that happens. But I decided I needed to figure out a way to move forward, right? So what did I do? I said, something is better than nothing, right? And the key is consistency. I'm always going to come back to consistency is really critical. So I started by walking and jogging a little bit. So I would jog 5 minutes and be like dying, right? So then I would walk another, 10 minutes. That's 15 minutes. I did that for about a week. And then after a week, I decided I would try to jog 10 minutes and walk 10 minutes. And so every week I increased by increments that were doable. You start getting up there and so I wasn't necessarily going to increase my jogging by another 10 minutes, and going from 30 to 40, that gets a lot harder, especially for me and my little knees. But I just kept doing what I could. And some weeks I actually cut back and I would feel badly, but then I'm like, that's okay. It is okay because I'm still out here and I'm still enjoying this time. It became a time that I had to myself, just kind of meditative. I don't tend to listen to music. I don't tend to listen to anything. I like just letting my thoughts run. And so over time, I made it to, the goal I had set. And, it took a few months, to really get into the rhythm, but it didn't take nearly that long for me to get to a place where I really looked forward to being outside, to doing the exercise on a daily basis, right? We all have that inertia. Thinking about running, but do it 7 days in a row, do it 10 days in a row, and that makes it a habit. And then, you get to a point where you're enjoying it and it really becomes something that you look forward to. So sometimes do I fall off the bandwagon with my running? Yes, absolutely. Do I run into the inertia problem? Yes, absolutely. But I always come back to, I just got to get back up and get back into it. So I realize that I am speaking from the place of somebody who's pretty fit. And so for me, running, jogging, dancing, all of those things come pretty naturally to me. But, all of us don't have that. Some of us have had challenges of health. And so running, and sometimes even walking, aren't going to be accessible. So what are some walking alternatives? Now I'm looking at my notes. Okay, chair exercises. You can sit in your chair or a wheelchair, and even something as simple as doing arm lifts or breathing. Let's try it. So the act of lifting your arms, that's exercise. The act of breathing increases oxygen. If you are able to, you move your legs however way you can. Bring your knees up towards the ceiling. Even if it's just 1 or 2 inches, that is something, and something is always better than nothing. Chair dancing is always a great favorite, something that I encourage everybody to do. There's days that I'm so exhausted, I just kind of lay on my couch, listen to music, and do a little bit of, couch dancing. But, music, I'm a great believer. Music is, can always lift your spirits and get you motivated to do stuff. So other ideas, there's tons of workouts out there that are free on YouTube. You just got to shop around. There's exercise people out there. You find somebody you like and just follow them. You subscribe, and you can get on there, and it's totally free. Swimming is an extremely beneficial activity. Even if you're just in the pool and walking back and forth, it doesn't hurt your joints. You are still exercising. Back in college, when I injured one of my knees, I had to be off the track for a while. And so what the coach had me do was get into the pool and run in the pool. And I would just run laps and laps and laps. And, it was wonderful. Ever since then, whenever I have the opportunity, I just, I'll jump in a pool and do some laps. I'll either walk or I'll run. Other people like swimming. I personally don't like putting my face in the water. I know it's kind of weird, but that's why the walking in the pool is great for me. Dance classes. If you live in, some kind of like a larger town, small city, bigger cities will always have them, but you can look up adult dance classes, and there's tons of options. Everything from ballet, which I'm a very, very huge fan of for many reasons. Hip hop classes, ballroom dancing, and people show up when these adult classes. Don't be intimidated. People show up at all levels. And the instructors are just usually really open and happy to help you out. Water aerobics, we talked about running or walking in the pool or just doing laps, but water aerobics is another great option. So what I want you to do is do a little introspection. Choose a realistic schedule for yourself. Is it realistic that you're going to get up at 5 tomorrow and run for an hour? Me personally, not realistic, right? So what is a realistic schedule for you? Think about how your day goes. Think about where you can fit in, and start small if that is something, if this is something new, right? So start small. Let's say 15 minutes. I challenge you, you can find 15 minutes in your day, but I want you to commit. So what I mean by commit is you're going to commit for a certain number of days. I suggest a minimum of 14, right? Minimum of 14 days, but you can even try 30 days if you really want to extra challenge yourself. And do some kind of exercise. You can either say, I'm going to walk for those 15 minutes, I'm going to jog and run, I'm going to meditate or do some yoga with a YouTube video, whatever it is. You can mix it up, you can do the same thing, but choose the time of day, which you can also try different times. I just want you to do something every day and figure out what it is that works the best for you. And you're always welcome to tell me how it's going. In fact, I really want you to tell me how it's going. I want you to comment on the video. You can Instagram me. My DMs are always open, right? The Neurocurious, or at the Neurocurious on Instagram. Also, there's Neurocurious on my Facebook page. I really want to hear from you. And tell me what you think of this format, okay? Do you like it? Love it? Hate it? All right, I just want to hear from you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.